Alright everyone, so you've been asking for it. Here it is. Here's a review for the HP Pavilion G6 2248CA laptop. Nice little device, works pretty well, but I want to go through some stuff. It's not perfect by any means, but it's an interesting value, and I wanted to kind of run it by you guys, show you guys, a little bit of the ins and outs. Now let's go through some quick specs on it. Now I'll tell you right off the bat, of course the unboxing video I listed all the specs. I'm just going to do a quick brief rundown on the device here, but it does list all the specs on that video. Also, don't expect me messing around too much with Windows 8. This is not a Windows 8 review. This is a review on the actual laptop itself, so I'll talk about that. But a couple quick things on here. It's running an AMD A4 dual-core 2.5 gig processor. It's got 6 gigs of DDR3 RAM, lots of RAM actually on there. 750 gig hard drive, which actually not fully occupied, so that's pretty good. Normally sometimes you get these and they're loaded with stuff, but we'll get into more of that in a second. Super multi DVD burner. It's got a 15.6 inch HD LED Brightview Display, which here I'm actually going to display this for you guys. I'm going to show you how bright now. The camera's going to get all wonky for a second. I don't know if you guys see when you go bright, when you go really bright, everything else gets really dark. But you can see that gets really, really bright there. So, and you know what? It's pretty clear and nice, and it works really well. Easy to adjust, of course, with your adjustable buttons, and of course you can adjust some more settings inside there. Usual Windows stuff. You've got your HP True Vision HD camera. That's located right up here. Bam. And that's everything. Of course, let's look at some of the other connections now. Let's look around on the device itself. Now, this actually has pretty good build quality. I'm actually surprised on how well it is. It's well put out. It's got, I don't know if you could really kind of tell there. It's got this kind of sparkly, almost like if there's some grain embedded in there or something. Something gives a nice little sparkle there. You see that? So it's a nice little fit and finish. It actually is pretty well built. One of the better built laptops I've dealt with in a bit, so it's pretty nice. If you look over here, it's simple and easy. Nice just kind of covering. Doesn't stain up too bad, which is nice. You get fingerprints in some of them. This one doesn't get it too much, but I've had to clean it a couple times, things like that. Looking around here, you'll see, I don't know if you'll be able to see that well. Of course, that's where your charger is, of course. You got your USB. Before I hit on the other side, this is where your disk drive is. Now, first thing you'll notice right off the bat, a little bit noisy. Not too bad, not the worst we've ever seen, but a little bit noisy. This actually feels very, very flimsy. And I will point that out. I have messed with some that have better quality. Not just, of course, that it moves. We know that some of these do move. Quite a few of them move. But more so in the fact that it actually has this kind of very gritty feel to it. So just pointing that out to you guys. Over on the other side of it in itself here, you've got your VGA connection over here, HDMI port, RG25, excuse me, USB ports, of course, headphone mic, and your multi card reader over here. Now, as far as the device itself is concerned, like I said, overall pretty good build quality. There are some interesting things to note about it in itself. Now, when you're actually talking, like, for example, the keyboard and stuff, the keyboard works really well. It's functional, nothing really wrong with it, but it has this kind of weird feel compared to some of the other laptops you kind of dealt with. It again works really well, but I don't know. The buttons don't feel as crisp as the other ones. It feels almost like some of the laptops we've dealt with in the previous years. Older laptops, things like that. It's just not as, the buttons don't feel as good as some of the other ones. However, based on the price and stuff like that, I mean, it is kind of a quote-unquote budget laptop in the sense that there is a lot of laptops out there that charge more and sometimes even offer less. So for some of the things like that, it's certainly more than functional. Works really well. I would say make sure you kind of get a feel for it first. It doesn't feel as responsive, I guess is the term I'm looking for. It doesn't have enough feedback as you would expect from other laptops and stuff like that. But again, for the price of things like that, you can find this out there depending on sales or anything like that, from $349 to $439 thereabouts is kind of where I'm seeing the price ranges. Again, pretty good for the price and things like that for what it offers. It also, like I mentioned, has a very, very bright screen on there. Really works really well. Like, this is way too bright if you see this, but it's so crisp and clear. Like, the screen works really well. There's very, very little lag in the screen itself. So again, that's all pretty good in what it offers there. When you get this, it comes pretty loaded with a ton of bloatware. Everything, and pretty much stuff you kind of expect, Norton and things like that. But because it's running, although it's a 2.5 gig processor, is only a dual core. And I found when I opened this up and started really messing with it, it was really slow, and I'm talking really slow for what I expected. Then I started hunting around inside, looking around inside a bit, found a lot of stuff in there. Again, Norton, I know some people swear by it. I think Norton is decent, but it really drags down the computer, and for something like this, it really slow. Soon, just removing Norton, boom, everything moved up a lot quicker. All of a sudden, even boot up was so slow with this. Soon as he actually removed all that access junk, I took off pretty much everything in there that I didn't need or didn't really serve a purpose. This thing's been running easily 2 to 3 times faster. So keep that in mind when you get it. When you get that, this is going to come with a lot of bloatware. Depending where you buy from, you may even see some extras on there. But even the stock, what it comes with it from HP directly, it will slow it down quite a bit. And you may have to go in there and do some cleanup. Again, for the price that you're paying, though, not terrible. A couple other things on there. It's a bit heavy. Not terrible at 2.5, about, depending on the build and everything, that the ones you get. Mine weighed in just around 2.5 kilos. Not light, but not heavy either. But considering the size and everything, you do kind of feel it. But again, not too bad. But it's also a little bit on the noisy side. You do hear the hard drive booting up every once in a while. Again, when you open up your tray at the side here, you do hear that. Again, kind of part of it of having more quote unquote a little bit of more on a budget, but still really works really well. Aside from the little quirks here and there, everything works great, no problem. I will say that on top of that as well, the camera, although it's acclaimed, as HP says, HD true camera, camera quality is not great, even when you turn up the max settings. It's okay, especially if you have like smaller pictures and stuff like that. But if you want to put it as a background, or getting it any little bit bigger at all, it really is quite grainy. So it's not a quality camera that I would stand behind for that. It does a job, and you want to take pictures, it'll certainly do that. I tried doing some video chatting and stuff like that. Works okay. A little bit on the laggy side. Picture quality not all that great. So again, I would not directly stand behind the camera. So that is another downside to keep in mind. Of course, it comes with Windows 8 right off the bat. So for those who are fans of Windows 8, that's great. For who are not, keep that in mind that you are getting Windows 8, and it does have all its little quirks, like your little desktop and the new start screen, as it were. When I got this, as you see, it's got a little bit more cleaned up now. I haven't even started loading up a lot of programs up on my start screen yet. However, this was loaded with stuff, and again, that all comes back to the bloatware and everything that comes on there. So again, keep that in mind when you are getting it. For those who wonder, this is actually fairly responsive. If you can, I don't know if you can see the little mouse. Let me see if I can get it to a spot. There, see right up there. It's responsive. It works fine. It's got this kind of really rough feel to it. So again, mess around with it. It's not as smooth as some of the other ones, but at the same time, if you feel direct feedback, but you feel like you're doing something not more natural, like you're feeling movement. Not, again, it's hard to explain, but you're not feeling movement. I mean, it's not like this is moving with you, but you know what I mean. Like by moving your finger on it, you're not moving over something smooth, and there's lack of feel. This has a feel to it because this has a kind of a grain to it, so you do feel it, and it kind of makes it a little more responsive in the way you move it. But other than that, everything else is pretty good on here. I have no real complaints. For the price you pay and everything, that works really, really well. I would recommend anyone to at least consider it, especially if you're looking, that $300-400 range for a laptop. I think there's a great buy here. No problems at all. Just keep in mind when you buy it, you will have some stuff to do, and there are some concessions you make, like the camera and so on like that. But overall, we got to give it a score. I'm going to score it in out of a score of 10. Final score on our scoring system, 7.8. Again, strongly recommend it if you're in the market for this type of laptop. But if you have a few bucks more to spend, there is stuff out there that's better. If you do have a little bit more bank in your account to work with. All in all, though, that's the review for the HP Pavilion G6 2248CA. If there's anything else you want to see or any questions, make sure to leave it in the comments section down there. Make sure to like, subscribe, let me know what you think. Alright, guys? Alright, so this is Nexus. Take care. Have a good one.